Ian Miles Chong has it. Joe Biden recalls how his theology professor was a guy named Riley last name.
A learned scholar.
A learned scholar.
Yes.
The story is really, really great.
I think I heard of that guy.
Yeah, let me play. Here we go.
My theology professor at the Catholic school I went to was a guy named Riley, last name, and he had been drafted by the Green Bay Packers.
So this guy is Ron Burgundy. Okay, like he will read whatever is on the prompter.
He is.
I half blame the guy who's writing the copy for the prompter.
Yeah, why didn't he catch that?
And it's like you know that last name was in brackets too, because that's how it works. When someone's writing like a script or a pitch or a PR statement, the things that must be removed will be bracketed and highlighted in all caps. I'm just imagining Biden seeing the prompter and it says Riley and then bracket last name in all caps, and he just reads it.
He hits it.
But in reality, it's very much his fault. Now apparently this gets better because my understanding is that people actually tried to find a theology professor with the name of Riley who was on the Packers. They can't find anybody. And so they're like, we don't know that this guy actually exists. So
as soon as he said the Green Bay Packers thing, I was like, this guy isn't real. Joe Biden's just embellishing per usual.
Why can't he just say, I had a theology professor and be good with that? Why's he got to be Riley? Why's he got to be...
if he knows his name, why can't he just say the last name?
That's right. Or the mistake is, it's Green Bay, Canada. His professor was Canadian, so you don't know her,
He's not from here. He's from Canada.
Yeah. Well, Riley could be a girl's name too. And the Green Bay, Canada. What's a province? Newfoundland. There you go.
That's where my family's from.
Is there a Green Bay in Newfoundland? It was a woman who played on that team.
It's weird because he says in that clip Catholic school, right? So. Maybe there are professors at Catholic high schools, but it's all weird jumbled terminology.
Yeah. Professors usually in America, it's restricted to college.
And he didn't go to a Catholic university, right?
Total win.
See, great job.
You saved them.
I can't believe how much you know about my homeland. This is great.
Green Bay is actually the name of two bays in Newfoundland and Labrador. And of all of, I know, what, Saskatchewan, is that another one?
That's another one. Yukon, Alberta.
Yeah.
Okay, so I actually know a handful. But
British Columbia.
The one that I guessed actually has a Green Bay. And see, you guys, stop being mean. Joe Biden, Riley last name, it's actually the name of the person.
It's a traditional Newfoundland last name.
People.
Yeah. Everyone I know is named something last name. Yeah. It's very common in Newfoundland. No, I'm just kidding. It's completely false.
Maybe it's like Malcolm X, where he doesn't want to have the last name. He puts the X.
The scary thing about this is that people are going to vote for him.
I know.
Yeah.
Is there any chance that they were like, you haven't told us this guy's last name, so we'll just prompt you to say the last name? And he was like, for sure. And then this guy is fake, so he didn't think. I just don't find this president inspiring. I get the young people are mad at him, but those that were like, but maybe he's okay. Like, do you look at him and think, this is the guy? He's going to bring us through this difficult economic time and into a place of cultural cohesion.
He's a puppet. There's people behind all this.
Here's the big takeaway for this segment.
Oh, this is great.
This clip is absolutely fantastic. This is I don't know who this comedian is. Maybe you guys know, but let's play this clip.
Nick, what do you do for a living now? You work for the Biden administration. Is your job to wake them up, or what's your job? hey! There's a war. Hey. Okay, what do you do for the Biden administration?
That was good.
Shit show of a job you have. I can't believe you admitted that in front of all these people. You have the freedom to lie. You could have said you were a hooker and I would have been prouder of you. What do you do?
I travel to southern states.
This guy's good.
Yeah, this is all off the cuff.
You go to the South and try to sell them on Biden? You're fucking retarded. What the fuck? What are you talking about? That's your fucking job? Is to go, hey, listen, I know you guys like Trump, but Biden, wow. Are you ready to be unemployed, or what's your
Yes.
Nick, what do you do for a living?
I want to play the beginning one more time.
You work for the Biden administration. Is your job to wake them up, or what's your job? Hey! There's a war. Hey.
That was the best part. Is your job to wake him up? Okay.
There's a war.
There's a war.
Yeah.
Aside from being very funny, what we're really seeing is that you're a comedian and you want to get laughs from the audience. You make fun of Joe Biden. For the longest time, SNL would not go near it. Even it's like 2 years into the Biden presidency and SNL's still making fun of Trump.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, Trump was not even in the line. He disappeared.
Right.
He was just like chilling. He was just not in it. And we're still going for it. Now we're seeing people are having, this is it. This is all for all the people who said you're on the wrong side of history. Yeah, well, the right side of history apparently is making fun of Joe Biden. So
it is, number one, credit to this comedian, his timing on this. Assuming this guy's not a plant in the audience, he has a really great reaction, candidly. But I do think it is interesting that everyone in the audience also laughs as well. When he's like, I traveled to southern states, he can't even get through his job description before the comedian, and everyone else is like, excuse me, you do what? It's funny. Look, comedy's healing America. That's all I know from this.
It's masterful. Is your job to wake him up? Yeah, because that's a real job. The truth is funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's legit someone who works for Biden who wakes him up.
And goes to the southern states. He really does. That's not a bit. He actually goes to the southern states and is like, hey, check out Biden.
I like his sales pitch here being like, so you go to the southern states and say, I know you like Trump, but Biden?
Right.
There's nothing else you can say. They're not going to sell Biden.
I can list a bunch of things I like that Trump did. In 2016, I didn't know the guy. I didn't vote for him. In 2017, 18, I'm just like, And then by 2020, looking at all the stuff that was going on, looking at his track record on foreign policy, I'm like, I can actually discuss a bunch of things that Trump did that I liked. And it's only a small bit of things that I'm critical of. And most of the things that people are critical of outside of this are fake news. Joe Biden, man, I really want to try and name one good thing. And the best I can come up with is trying to get rid of ATM fees.
I think the CHIPS Act might be okay.
Yeah, okay.
I think that Fair point. I do think that it's super, super important to have the ability to not just manufacture chips for the military here in the U.S. because all of our edge is technology when it comes to the military, and the U.S. still does have an edge over every other country. And it's important to have the ability to do that. But also I think that it's important for the private sector to have access to the chips as well, to, semiconductors as well. Just because the United States acknowledges that the government and the military need chips to continue working in case of economic issues globally doesn't mean that the rest of the country should be, SOL if there's problems with getting chips from Taiwan. There should be a thriving semiconductor industry in the United States that is capable of providing the U.S. with all the chips that it needs. And the only reason that we don't have that is because of regulation, purely, 100%. Because all the chips are designed here. Or not all, I don't know for sure all, but a lot.
Majority, at least.
There's a significant number of very high-tech, very advanced chips that are designed here. I'm pretty sure NVIDIA designs here. I know Apple designs here. So you're talking about significant advanced technology that's designed here, and then we make it in Taiwan or make it somewhere else. We should be able to make these things at home. So the CHIPS Act, there you go.
Do you have anything you like about the Biden administration?
No.
Not one thing.
Nothing.
Not one thing.
I try to be honest, reasonable, and fair. I mean, it would be silly and unreasonable to the average person if you're like, I really can't think of a single good thing a person does.
I mean, the chips things, that's a positive.
Well, so
I'll give him that.
He was trying to get rid of these overdraft fees. I don't know where we're at with that, but I got nothing bad to say about the idea
that puts what, $8 back in my pocket.
No, I mean, we're talking about a lot of people who are living paycheck to paycheck, and they're
getting hit and hit and hit.
Poor people,
right?
Poor people suffer a lot.
I had a friend
that is predatory.
And so I'm like, okay, I can give him that one, right?
Yeah.
But when you're at negative 97 and you add 5 points to it, it doesn't really move the needle a whole lot. You know what I mean? So it's I want to be reasonable, but a polished turd is still a turd.
You want to be able to acknowledge, if you're attacking a politician and everything they do all the time is always bad, then you are maybe not being critical enough. You need to be able to recognize when something is positive. But I think you're absolutely right. Overdraft fees while for some people it may make a huge difference overall. I mean, I watched a video on this today where the girl is like, yeah, I guess that's good, but like my grocery bill, I can't buy a house.
Inflation.
Like, it's not that it
rates.
It's not that it's nothing. It's just not enough, even for voters who are sympathetic towards Biden. I think the reality, I mean, voters are looking at their wallet at the end of every month, and they know that things are not okay. And I think a lot of them, especially young voters, are old enough to remember that things were better under Trump, even if they weren't personally paying taxes or they weren't, looking to buy their own homes. The 24-year-old voters who had just become adults under Trump and then became more responsible adults under Biden, I can't imagine this is good for them.
Yeah, they're looking at interest rates, looking at the price of houses. They're talking about having children, and it's tough.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.